Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we're going to install the body mounts and we're going to start working on that trans tunnel and the drive shaft tunnel. In the last episode, we got the cab off of that chassis and we got it stuck on this one. Before we did that, we cut around the trans tunnel. That way everything will fit. We still need to cut for the drive shaft and then make a tunnel for it. And once we get the body where we want it and all that stuff in there done, we can start working on the front clip and then the bed. Before I got this frame ready to load up to take to the scrap yard, I decided to give the body bushings one more shot. I let them sit and soak overnight and sprayed them again and got one out. So we'll go ahead and set the camera up and see what we got to do to get the rest of them out of here so we can reuse them. Because the rubber's good. There's nothing wrong with them, just a little surface rust. But like I said, you could squeeze them and the rubber's still soft. So let's try to get these out of here. There it is. I'm glad I went ahead and pushed to get them out. Like I showed you earlier, they're used, but they're still squishy. They'll still work. So now this frame, we're gonna load up on the trailer. I'll jack it up, take my wheels off, the rollers off of there, and I'll leave it on the trailer and we'll get all the scrap out of here. That bumper's staying. I got some scrap there, a piece of metal there, some scrap back over there. But we'll go ahead and I'll set the bushings next to where they belong. And after I go load all this up and get it out of the way, no reason for it to sit here, we'll go ahead and start, we'll raise this up using the frame, the chassis. I'll put some boards under it, some 3x3s, something. And then I'll lower the chassis all the way and then I'll be able to slide in the body mounts. Then we'll raise it up, put the bolts through, get it aligned, and then we could start working on the trans tunnel, working on the inside. truck or the cab is now sitting on the proper bushings. But it's not aligned correctly. I went ahead and got, as you saw, the brackets and everything out of here now. We'll be airing this up all the way, and as you saw, putting blocks underneath it to give us room to cut. I'll come around and show you the other side. See, it definitely needs to come shifting over. Yeah, you can see the center is not in the center, and they're not where they need to be. All because of that bracket and that housing. So we have to come over a lot closer to that bolt right there. Doesn't have to go down anymore. It's as far down as it's gonna go, so there's some clearance. I'll probably put a filler piece back in right there. But we'll keep some room around it where you can get your lines. I mean, the lines that are already there, but yeah. This, as you can see, needs to, yep, we need to take more out of that right there. Because that bracket goes to the linkage, and I'd like to keep it for them. Because I don't know what setup they're gonna use. So we'll get on that next. Start doing more cutting. I went ahead and got the back bolts as aligned as possible. They drop through and I could see the hole perfectly straight in the rear. The front, like I keep saying, still has to come over this way. So we'll set up the camera and mark where that's gotta go. Yeah. Looks good. One piece at a time. Once we get this figured out with its clearance and everything, then we'll figure out where we're cutting. Had to take a few days off on the Ford to knock out this metal project. There's 14.5 quarter-inch sheets that I had to go get and cut up. There were 100 of patterns that size of 6 different pieces. They're different amount of each one, but it came out to 100 pieces. But we'll get everything reback arranged. I had to get everything out of the way. I had to pull the trailer in with all the metal on it. Don't have a forklift, so use the trusty hoist. I'll show you some clips in a second of the job. And then we'll get back to rearranging everything so we can get back on that transmission tunnel. As you saw, that's a no-go. Those are too heavy. These half sheets, when there's nothing cut out of them, they're about 180 pounds a piece. So there's quite a bit of material there. So it looks like I'm gonna have to be moving them one at a time over to here. Or maybe it's time to go online and find a little baby forklift. That's the struggle on the big boy table. All right, we'll get these things arranged. Now that everything is rearranged, we can get back on doing the trans tunnel and the drive shaft tunnel. Fits nicely right here. Have enough room to access the metal, put on the table. Other pallets for some 3/16 that's back there. And then I can use the other pallet for scrap. The goal is, once we get the transmission tunnel and the drive shaft tunnel done, then we'll put the front clip on and the hood, and then all that'll be done. Then we can focus on the bed. We'll go ahead and lift everything back up, put some blocks underneath the body. That way it'll give us some space, and then we can mark and cut. Yeah. Definitely gonna need a nice tall drive shaft. I have to measure the height of the bench seat in the center there and make sure everything's gonna fit. If not, might have to put buckets in the center console in here. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. Turn on notifications. You'll get notified when I post updates on this and other jobs that come in. all the body bolts are now through and in place. So the cab is where it belongs. As you saw earlier, we went ahead and cut the extra little bit that was needed. It's that strip right there. That was the extra that was needed to give us the clearance we needed. So next we'll start making the templates to cover this. We'll leave the back open, and then we need to also cut this out, but I'll cut this out once we get the front majority tacked into place. One step at a time. Test piece. This left side or right side right here was originally bent out, and that would have made it too small. But this is basically, oh, okay. Knock the flashlight down. Whatever, I don't need it yet. Set it back up there. So this, you can kind of get the idea. We'll touch there and there. I can get it to sit one-handed. Something like this. I want to bring this over, and these sides will get squeezed in a little bit. But I want this to go like this, and that side to be something like that. All the way through. Should be fine. Up there to the right, I'll be adding a filler piece up here. And then back here, it's going to go down a little smaller and narrower. As the piece I have, I'll cut out on the plasma table before I bend it. It'll be wider up here than back here. So all my bends will be slight at an angle. And that'll, you'll see, it'll give it a cone shape, almost like the transmission. Alright, well, let's go ahead and cut out a bigger piece in this and see what we can do. See how it turns out. You don't know until you try. As you saw, it's all bent up. It's just set into place for right now. I still have some trimming to do in the back because it's not gonna sit level. It's got way too much gap underneath. So we're gonna go ahead and bring the whole thing down a little bit, and the rear will come down even more, a couple inches. Like I said, we got a trim. You can see where it's temporarily marked. I'll cut close to that, and we'll go a little lower. And then the same with a little bit up there, but I'm not gonna cut too much because I gotta pull that side out. And then you can see the gap up there. It's still gotta go nice and tight to the firewall that way forward. But like I said, a little more trimming. The other side looks a lot better. The other side's not as much figuring out, but it's still the same thing. So this side, obviously you can see, better angle from here. The back needs to come down 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches. So we'll get it set, pushed down, other side trim to get it down, push this side inside the what's cut, and then we'll do some marking. I'll set a piece of wood on top of the transmission, and then we can set this down on top of that and get it 1.5 inches clearance all the way around it. And like I keep saying, once we get this one done, we can grab a piece for the back with an opening for the trans tunnel, cut the center of this, and then put a, drive shaft tunnel in. Once we get everything in where we want it and tacked up, then we come in and fully weld everything. One step at a time on this. Every piece we get in it is one step closer. Then once we get the insides closed up, then we'll be able to start stripping the front. Getting that front end on here, getting that hood on here, then move on to the bed. All right, everyone, that's it for this one. You want to go ahead and get notifications about this update and other updates I got coming in. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. All right, thanks for watching, everyone.